hello. It is me, Victor Dmitrich Huliganov. Very possibly you're not seeing my mouse moving in time with the speaking, because I am making this in the low light filter option on my webcam. I am actually in train compartment at night. If you don't believe, I can show what is around here in this compartment. It's not very long, my webcam thing, but I can show you. This is the window outside. It's actually down at the moment. You can move it up a little bit and show you the window, what it looks. And around there is the corridor out there. This is the roof of it. These are all the seats around. Oh, I'm showing you back on the computer. You can see what I'm actually. This is because I put it on the low light filter, so something just like computer now. It's looking like tremendously big. Anyway, I had to leave it looking like that. But I want to tell you, you can't see very well in this light because it's quite dark. But other than that, I got a first class compartment all to myself, because I'm going already Sunday night to Gdańsk from Warsaw, and this is very, very nice to have a compartment all to yourself in a first class train. Most of the journey I pass in the restaurant car, reading my book, what I'm reading at the moment. Very big thanks to Richard Berkeley for giving me this book for Christmas. It's, you probably can't see very well, but it's 1812, Napoleon's fatal march on Moscow. Give you all the historical background behind Tolstoy's great work of War and Peace. So if you don't know much about 1812, well, then you're the same as most people. Most people don't know much about 1812 and the Napoleonic campaign against Russia. But if you read this book, it's amazing how many things fall to place. It's a very important part of jigsaw of knowledge about the way the world works and why things are the way they are now. There's an awful lot of things even that you find going on now what have a lot of their explanation in things what happened during Napoleonic War. Even you could say what happened in the First and Second World Wars really was dictated to a greater or lesser extent by things which happened in the Napoleonic Wars. Certainly, you know, things like the way that accounts are done today, the way that fixed assets are accounted for, the heredity laws of most of Europe. Many things are all accounted for by decisions made by Napoleon Bonaparte, and of course he in turn inspired people like Adolf Hitler to make a similarly disastrous campaign against Russia. So I advise anybody, this is by Adam Zamoyski, this book, 1812, Napoleon's Fatal March on Moscow, by Adam Zamoyski, published by Harper Perennial. If you want the ISBN number, I probably could give. It's 0007, like a 007, but 3 O's, not just 2. Then 1, 2, 3, 7, 4, and 4. So get hold of it, read it. It's about 500 pages thick. I can tell you, since I started to read, I did not put it down, except for when I leave the lavatory, but in this train journey, it's making very short the train journey. I'm really nearly in Gdańsk now, and only just doing anything on the computer, because I was in that restaurant car eating a nice meal. You know, this is where I'm coming on to this, because this is going to be Rant for October. This is going to be October Rant. It's actually January, but don't let that worry. I'm sometimes a little bit late with the Rant, but it's going to be for October Rant. Because I did, last one I did was for September, which was on time, of course, but since then I have not been doing them. I was going to do one about the American elections in October, which was going on then, but in the end I didn't do it. There was a lot to talk about, but I kind of had other things on my mind, so I didn't do it then. Anyway, right now, because we are in a fine train, I wanted really to make the rant about the public transport, because you got to ask yourself what is the future for private transport and for public transport. Okay, that's what I want to talk about. The journey what I make today in the course of 4 hours is of 300 kilometers. Many people in Western Europe have been using planes for this. I could use a plane to go from Warsaw to Gdańsk. There is also such a connection, but it's a great waste of fuel. If you're pulling along a track, which is very long vehicle, then one locomotive can pull behind an awful lot of people, much more energy efficient than an airplane. You don't have to push something up into the air. Okay, so the airplane, on the one hand, you say it is faster, but you have to be there ahead of time. There is this big security checks and everything. Here nobody checking the security. I only had one check on the ticket, not of my personal who I am or anything like that. I could be Mickey Mouse putting on the check when for buying. Well, I just paid for cash. I could be anybody, nobody knows who it is here, and I could be with lots and lots of tons of explosives. And on the one hand you say, well, that is not a very good argument for being on train. After all, I don't want to get myself blown up, thank you very much. But on the other hand, can't you see what a refreshing change that is? After all the trouble we're getting on the aeroplanes, we're getting so much trouble on the airplanes. Every time you go onto the airplane, they want to search you, they want you to take the shoes off, they want you to not have any water on you, like it might be heavy water, you know, you might be slugging this bag and it might really have an extra piece of hydrogen in, yeah, and be an isotope for use in the nuclear weapons industry. And so they want you not to take this water, except what they sell you in the last minute, which is of course 3 times more expensive than need to be. So it's all a big take on. Not letting you to use a mobile phone on the airplane when it's perfectly obvious that you can use it. Here I don't only have a possibility to use a mobile phone, I've even got plugged in, because I got several plugs in this carriage because it's empty. And here I could, for example, switch on, although it doesn't want to switch on, don't know why that is. I seem to be working, but it's not switching on. I have to reset it probably. Want to be reset by holding for 5 seconds sometimes. This is a Clarion map 77770, and now I've reset it and it's like this. In a minute when it switch on, I will ask it to tell where exactly I am on the journey. Okay, and this is just a normal GPS, and you can use on the train as well. I'm going to go navigation and then just leave it by the window until it pick up the satellite signal, which should happen while we're talking. It won't be very quick, but it will. I have to accept that it gives me some silly kind of waiver, disclaimer that I'm not going to disobey the law with it or something like that stupid thing. Anyway, it's over there now. It's giving me the map from where I last used it. This isn't a relevant map for this, but it's a map from where I last used it. Everybody gonna think I'm a technocrat, but I got a lot of things. This here, what I had plugged in is batteries for camera. I'm using 3 different power sources at once in this train. So, and I had a meal, and I can do what I like. If I want to sit here, I could start to sing karaoke songs from the computer. I'm on my own in this compartment. Nobody can say a dicky bird. And look, it's a long train. It's many. It's like, you know, like 300 meters, 400 meters long, and in here is no more than about 100 people. It's great. It's fantastic. If you compare the luxury of travel like this with the kind of airplane travel, I can tell you, you need to travel on intercontinental, or what they call intercity trains. If you can get it, you know, this, you know, I will tell you what I pay for the ticket. The ticket I pay 120 for first class with a seat. It is about, what would that be? That would be about £25 to go for 300 kilometers, which is about like 200 miles, maybe a bit more actually, to Gdańsk. And it is, what can I say? It's comfortable, almost no noise. I think you can hear me very well with not too much background noise. what is the place where I am now? I think it is now in a kind of slowing down into an area. I don't see exactly where I am, but in a minute anyway, hopefully this will tell me. No, it hasn't picked up yet, the signal. Ask it to do this. Doesn't seem to want to do a great deal. I think we may be going over Vistula to an area around Chev, but I'm not sure. That's where I'm going tomorrow anyway. But you know all about Chev. I did last year. I did 2 films from Chev, and they're very popular. So look up Chev, TCZEW, on my channel. So Chev, and then write Usenet posts. Afterwards, you find my films on Chev. Anyway, what I want to say. When you bear in mind that this is all it costs, and what are they doing in the United Kingdom? This is, you know, also profitable company. You can get from PKP the accounts. If they can afford to do this fantastic train for a reasonable price, then why is it in the United Kingdom that trains are always overpriced, overstocked? Somebody is raking it in. Somebody really is raking it in. But they should be stopped from doing this. There needs to be some kind of ombudsman, some kind of off-train or something like that. It has to start to be regulated, because having it unregulated like it is in UK, where anybody can just do what they like, and you know, all I need to do is buy a railway and I can charge what I like, and have plenty of passengers all packed in like sardines. Yes, and some of them even standing up, and not in comfortable conditions, but in very nasty conditions. And here is like I'm traveling like a king. I don't think that even the emperor himself, when he was traveling around East Europe, going to his armies, could be more nicely made comfortable than I am feeling in this train. So, you know, it's time that, well, actually nobody complains about the trains in Poland because everybody knows they're good, which means actually that probably not so much improvements are going on, because it's already quite, you know, people are proud and good, you know. In fact, people are so proud of the Polish trains, because when I went to the restaurant car, they actually had 60 years of Vars, which is the Polish restaurant car kind of company. It wasn't always a commercial company, and even now it is a mainly state-owned company. And they said, we've been serving you for 60 years, and in this time we have gone with our restaurant cars have traveled for 5 milliard, which is 5,000 million, okay, like an American billion, okay, 5,000 million kilometers, and have gone as far afield as Paris, as they mention a number of places in Western Europe, most of Western Europe, and they mention also Irkutsk and Novosibirsk in Russia, obviously places like Vilnius and other parts like that, Kiev. The Polish restaurant cars have been taken in trains all over Eurasia.
GPS signal lost.
Oh, you've just woken up, have you, GPS signal? Yes, okay, so please now to tell me. Oh, I am in Malbork. Okay, fair enough. It says lost, but it's come back again. I'm in Malbork, so it's not very far away. Malbork as well, you can see in one video from me that I did once from the train before, when I was coming up to Gdańsk on the train in the daytime. And I wonder if I can see. No, we already went past the castle, but no, sorry, there is castle right there. It's a pity I won't be able to show, but there is the castle. It is a big Grand Master's seat from the time of when they was the, you know, the Crusaders, the Templars, controlling Northern Europe, and it eventually sort of went into submission, but it re-emerged as the Prussia, which of course was then humiliated finally by again Napoleon. But this only drive really the Templars again underground into another format, because of course Napoleon and all of that side of things, they were really controlled anyway by French Freemasonry. So all that this really meant was that the French Freemason took over the Templars and the Templar traditions that were still in Prussia at that time. So effectively putting again power into Freemason hands and Templar hands, into the hands of these secret societies, and consolidating that power. Russia was the main force fighting against Freemasonry, but of course even Russia was riddled with lodges and things like that. You are probably aware how much can be this whole power of Freemasonry can be shown really from the P2 or the the Propaganda Due Lodge in Italy, which was found to have really consolidated so many people, all of whom were trying to subvert power in Italy. Yeah, these are the people who are also the powerhouse behind this whole Bilderberger initiative and everything, and the enslaving of most of us in order to fill their pockets and make them the ones who are really running the human race as a little self-help organization at the expense of everybody else. It should actually be made illegal in every country, but of course the government, the people that we are voting, and it's a great big charade, all this voting, people that we are voting, you see, these people are always putting themselves into the position that they are part of the privileged ones, as they become part of this elite. And that's why, of course, trains and things like that don't work properly. Why don't they work properly? Because all of these things, the train companies in the West, they are sold out so that they're making money. They're making money so that these people can line their pockets, and the people like you and me, I would be over the speed limit, wouldn't I? After all, it is a train, dear. So, shut up. Right. These people are making the profits at the expense of normal people. What it should be is, it should be that they have got that we own these railways, and that they should be into our service. People don't want to go on trains which are not nice. If in England trains were nice like this, then everybody would use. I can't imagine that, okay, sometimes people like to have the independence of a car, but I really can't imagine. I used to do this myself until I discovered how good the trains are. Leaving my house at the same time what I left, and trying to get to Gdańsk in all of the snow what we got outside is about -6, and risking my life to go there to work when I could be sitting here just really relaxing, enjoying myself. I don't know why I ever did it. And also burning too much of fossil fuels, and I did it year after year. And one of the main reasons why I started to use the train is to get rid of the car, to not have to be married, as it were, with the car, so I can go on my walks, just to lose the weight. So in order to have more chances for losing the weight, I started to use the public transport, expecting it to be complete nonsense and rubbish and awful, and it turned out is a much better than using your own car. And if it's not better where you live, then you must campaign and campaign and put to shame and name and shame the people that are ruining it, and say, look, if even Poland, which is supposed to be some kind of third world country the way you think about it, and believe you me, you come here, you find out it is not. How much are we going on? Oh, it's only 90. It's only 90 kilometers an hour, actually. It's not very fast. But, we basically can see that if Poland can do it, then any country ought to be able to do it. If a country that was ransacked by Soviet Union and put back by communism for so many decades can have a good and working rail system, then what is the matter with Great Britain that invented these rail systems in the first place, and the steam engines and later on the trains? Why is it that Great Britain, having invented the system in the first place, only mess it up? It's like fiber optic cable again and again. Why is this the case? Because it's all down to the bloody Masons. They are the ones who are responsible for all of this. whether they are controlling the legal profession and making it so that nothing happen except for a lawyer is in there creaming off for himself because he is a mason and he's allowed to do it, or whether it's the people who are behind the privatization of the railways or anything like that. It's time people got up and kicked these people in the nuts. Really seriously. If you are in a train, perhaps you're watching this on your mobile phone, you are probably suffering standing up in a crowded train you paid too much money for, and it's all thanks to the way things are run in England, and they make you believe in their newspapers that a place like Poland is much more behind, and people believe even in Poland that Britain is more advantaged, and so Polish people went across to England in large numbers. 1.5 to 2 million people went, and now very few of them are still there, because when they go there and they open their eyes in Great Britain and see what it's really like, the only thing they have is that the money there is good because it's all artificially inflated prices. And so by living a frugal life but earning at these ridiculous rates of labor, which are necessary if you want to have a normal life over there when everything is inflated, but just simply not buying anything, they could make a bit of money to take back. Could in the past. Nowadays they get better by not even going to Great Britain. So you tell me, what is it if Britain has come to state where now that anybody from East Europe is allowed to go and work, most people go, try it, and go back to Eastern Europe saying I'm not bothered about going there? Then you tell me what have done your leaders. You tell me what your leaders have done after all these years when you were in capitalism and freedom and our countries were not. Take them and hold them to responsibility and accountability. Your country has been completely wrecked by immigration from non-European places, people coming in with a candle, gimme money after midnight, want somebody help me take my poverty away, that's what they're doing, all of these immigrationists. You should be shamed for allowing it, but you did. Every single British person who didn't go out on the street and get their head kicked in by police has allowed this state of affairs to happen. Only few people have been protesting, but even then their protests have been not effective because they haven't really understood what is wrong with the system. Is not to bring in a communism or anarchism or whatever, although that would be better maybe than some of the things which we've got. It's in returning to a fair system whereby secret societies are outlawed, small businesses are encouraged, and whatever you do, whoever you are, you got the same right and the freedom as anybody who is even big and rich, because you can go as a small business, you can set up your own business, and you can go ahead and work for yourself, or you can employ other people if they don't want to make their own business, and you can be on same terms as even the big multinationals which are trying to pull these strings at the government level, and usually got these Bilderberger people behind who are lobbying at a very, very high level, people that you think you elected. But you can't put up with this situation. You're being turned into slaves. Next thing will be they're going to have a new world order, and one of the things which will happen when this goes ahead, you will become irrelevant. Most people watching this video are probably internet savvy people, and you can look up all kinds of things about this and you can be educated, but there are many people who are at the bottom of the pile. They will not know what hits them. Robotics will come along, they will have no job, nothing to do, and the best that you can hope for these people is that what is already happening in Great Britain, enforced sterilization of the working classes, that this will be the merciful way in which these people are taken out of existence, that they are stopped from having any children, and therefore they don't have to be murdered in war. Because in the past that's what happened. When people became irrelevant, a war was arranged between two countries who had nothing against each other, even including, Napoleon didn't even know why he was fighting Alexander. It's all in here. He didn't even understand why he was fighting Alexander. Alexander didn't know why Napoleon was fighting him, but he knew that he wasn't going to allow this godless person to take over his country. And so he knew that this was all this masonry and control and all of that, and he wanted none of it. So he stood up but he had plenty of people in his own country who wouldn't stand up. And if they had stood up properly, and if people had behaved properly, then a lot of things in that would have been easier on them and on everybody else. But it's all called, it's bloodletting. And these elite people, they love it. They've been doing it since the dawn of time. They wait till the population gets enough people that are not relevant to them, and then they start to do something which will cause them to perish. So the best that you can hope for in this generation is that they will take the people that they're calling these days chavs. I don't know how they dare to use the expression, but they're calling them chavs, and they say, we will sterilize them. So you probably find that your daughter, if you are a chav person, what they call chav, I'm not using this word, but they call you a chav. You probably will find, if you are a chav person, that your daughter in school is receiving an injection, and this injection is going to say for a few months your daughter will be free to be like sexually active, because they want to turn your daughters into like their future prostitutes, hopefully unpaid or very cheap ones. And so she can become sexually active even underage and not get pregnant, and then they will give another injection, and they won't even ask you as your parent, as the parent of this girl, what you're thinking about it. Already you don't need to be told about it as the parent. You are put by God in charge of this child, but they think that it's theirs property, so that they can turn this into a little prostitute for themselves. That's what they're doing, this elite now, with your daughters. Okay, so this child will be given these injections, and repeatedly every 3 months or 5 months, however long it is, for the long-term or so-called reversible sterilization, yes, or contraception. And of course you can't keep on doing that. You can't keep on messing around with the body without bringing to a stage that these will not be fertile women. These women will never have children. What is doing this? Okay, so, and of course it is natural that in this way, you mark my words, nothing is about this now. Okay, in the paper you will find, where are you getting this from? Where are you getting this from? I'm not getting it from anywhere. Oh, you're making it up. You're making it up. Yes. But I know the way things start and the way these things will lead to. I can tell you now, I can feel it in my gut that this is going to lead to eugenics. This is going to lead to eugenics. This is what Hitler wanted to do with his eugenics programs, his I can't remember the name of this program what he have, where he was going to bring in the fair women from Poland and with the German men and make these better children. Lebensborn project, that's what I'm looking for, the Lebensborn project. What we have is a kind of reverse of Lebensborn. Hitler wants to make more people because he wants an army what he can conquer with. Now we're going to use robots for that. So we just got too many people, and so we got reverse Lebensborn. So they're going to take the people they don't want and just make them infertile. Look what did your Barack Obama, your American president. He signed up. This is the man who's going to change for black people the situation in America, that the black people in America will have a better dignity, better rights. Yeah, I think he will do for black people in America what Margaret Thatcher did for feminism in England. So if you're a black person in America, I wouldn't hold your hopes out that this man will do much. Let me just explain what he done, and you can check all this out on the internet. This man, Obama Barack, he have signed up for all of the Illinois abortion programs what have encouraged the abortions for many Americans of the lower classes. And you and I both know who is represented unfairly a large number in the lower classes in America. Yes, it is not the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. It is the black people and also the Hispanics. But I don't understand why that should be, because in Europe people from Spain are very noble, fine people, but in America they kind of treated like they were shit or something. I don't know why. Have to ask Americans why this is, and have to ask Americans why it is that even if you only 16th part of your ancestry is from a African person, you still call black. Is it like kind of a muddy black paint which is making, you know, the nice pure white color not white anymore? It seemed to me that if you've got a majority from one race, you know, you should be considered either to be that race, or you should simply be given the choice to define yourself what race you think you are. Not be told, oh, you are 1/16 black, you're black. That is the most disgusting thing. It goes back to slavery days, and it should really be stopped. Nobody should be allowed to call somebody black, define somebody black, unless they have said themselves, I think I'm black. And it doesn't matter if that person is actually black. I think it should be that you can basically choose your own race, because even if you say, well, a mixed person can choose their race, well, that's not fair on the people who are not mixed. So anybody should simply arbitrarily decide, either have it, you know, on the spin of a dice, yeah? Maybe they should spin a dice in front of somebody, a Vegas dice, and if it comes out a 1, then that person is deemed white, whatever they really are, okay? If it's a 2, then they could be like a black. If it's a 3, they can be like an Indian. If it's a 4, then they could be like a Chinese. If it's a 5, they could be like from South America or something. If it's a 6, then I don't know if I probably run out of races or something. I don't know. But you know, maybe they could be an Australian Aborigine or something like that, or a Polynesian, or something obscure like this. So, and it should be that you get this race, regardless of what either you can choose for yourself what race you want to be, or you can have a dice throw and say, this is my race from now on. I may look like white man, but that is history. From now on the dice said I'm a black man, because actually that's what it is. That when you are born, whatever race you have is complete chance. You didn't choose it. So why to treat other people different to yourself? Just because they might look different. It's what's in the head. That's what counts. What you think, what you believe, that's what counts. Not what kind of color you got. I wish people would paint themselves green. But actually what will happen is that they will just make the light greens go to one end and the dark greens go to the other. It's a very sad thing, isn't it? But Obama bin Laden, when he signed up to these programs, yeah, he effectively, what he done is, he's allowed the eugenics programs in America to go ahead, so that black people have lower family rates now, lower birth rates in Illinois than white people. Or that they would have, if this hadn't taken place. If people weren't being pushed into, they wouldn't be being pushed into abortions. So, that's my rant for today. To use public transport and to hold accountable people who, if they're not giving you cheap and accessible and very good quality public transport, it means they probably belong to this international Bilderberger conspiracy. And what should happen to these people? In fact, what should happen to anybody who've been to a Bilderberger group? Anybody in this situation should be, and strangely enough, this appears to have knocked out my. I had a something knocked out the. It's very strange. I'm afraid that what happened there was it knocked out for a minute. We went over a bit of a hump in the rails, and it knocked out the supply of electricity, which was strange. But I hope it still carry on recording. But yes, so basically, what should happen if anybody been on Bilderberger conference, or if anybody is found to be a member of a secret society, they should be named and shamed, and they should be made. If you want to have a society, it should have on public record, on the internet, who is member, It should be showing the accounts in very good close detail. Oh golly, that's my phone, but it's underneath the computer. So what can I do? I have to let it simply ring to the end, and then when I finish I will be able to ring back whoever was that rang me, but right now I can't scrabble to answer it on time anyway, because it's under here, unless I reach the hand in. Oh, I can. 1 second. Да. Но я еще в поезде. Чего? Ну иди спать, дорогая, спокойной ночи. Люблю тебя. Ну конечно, дорогая. Нет, нет, я понимаю все это, дорогая. Пожалуйста, пожалуйста. Я тебя. Ну иди спать. Спокойной ночи. Ну пока, пока. Пока. Okay, that was my wife just telling that she wants to go to sleep, so that I don't ring her when I get to the hotel, because she is exhausted, poor thing. Anyway, it's only 22 hours, which is 10 o'clock, so but thankfully she's going to go to bed and have a better rest, because she didn't have very good rest these last few days. Anyway, you see, I've got all of the accoutrements what I need. So, yeah, what these societies, these secret societies, they should be made open. So if anybody want to be like have an organization like the Freemasons or whatever else there might be amongst them, you should have a complete every meeting. They shouldn't have tilers on the doors stopping you from going in. They should have it so that every single meeting, whoever like to walk in off the street and watch what's going on, okay, they can keep quiet. They could be asked to keep quiet, not say nothing. I can accept this much, okay? I could accept this as compromise, that people can go into the street and just keep quiet, but watch everything what's going on. Everything. Okay, no tiler on the door kicking out if anybody come along. Okay? And they should have on the internet lists of memberships and minutes of every meeting in full, and no secret meetings. Why they got to hide? What's they got to hide if they're not plotting against everybody else? If it's just a little bit of fun, like they say it is, then sorry, you can have your fun in a different ways, without a whole bunches of you getting together and colluding. If people do this against government, then it's called, you know, treason. But you're doing it against ordinary people, and just because it's the elite doing it, you don't think it's treason. Well, I do think it's treason. It's treason against us. You have to stop. The laws need to be put in place which will radically reform what secret society are allowed to do behind our backs. And it should be that also the whole legal system is reformed and the electoral system is reformed, taking advantage of the new technology on the internet to make everything open, including what people are making out of this, what advice they gave and should have given and could have given. And basically the judges, just as much as the politicians, need to be answerable to local ballot box what their decisions have been. People think jury is enough, but jury is not enough. Juries are always being led. Juries are being exchanged, so that if anybody is in there that is not a sheep, he is asked to go home. So it's all a lot of crap with the 12 good men and true, because you got 12 idiots usually in the jury. They don't pick anybody who has even been through, you know, has any likelihood of coming up with an independent thought. If you get chosen for a jury service, you probably can take as an insult, because it means you haven't done anything to arouse anybody in the Mason suspicions that you might go against what they want you to do. Some people are making a monkeys out of the rest of us. And it's time, it's now in the 21st century. We're now in the last times, the very last times, not long from now, and Jesus Christ will come back. I don't know if it's gonna be this year, but I tell you this, I put more than 1% chance that 2009 will see the end of the world. More than 1% chance. And I think it's probably less than 1% chance that we're going to make another 200 years. 200 years ago, this guy, Napoleon Bonaparte, was considered to be the Antichrist by many people, but it turned out he wasn't. Maybe this time as well, we don't have him yet. Maybe it will be Obama bin Arak or whatever his name is. But maybe it will be in 200 years, but I think it's actually much more likely to be in our lifetime than in any other time until now in human history that we come to the end of the world. Everything's lined up that what need to happen for end of world. Even Israel fighting against all the nations. What side you gonna be on in that war? I hope that evangelical Christians will be able to support Israel. What side you want to be on? Who is on the Lord's side, like it says in the Old Testament? They haven't changed. God's side is still with the Jews. Evangelical Christians like me, and maybe like you if you are one, we have to be political sometimes. The less the better. But when it comes to raising the sword against Israel, and the whole world will now start to do this shortly, after what is happening now as we speak. This is not obviously October, this is January 2009, although we say October Rant, it's kind of anachronistic. Things are going to start to happen possibly. And maybe every one of us make a decision. Oh.
Szanowni Państwo, z 20-minutowym opóźnieniem zbliżamy się do stacji Gdańsk Główny. Przypominam o zabraniu bagażu oraz rzeczy osobistych z udziałów. Za stacją Gdańsk Główny pociąg zatrzymywać będzie się na następujących stacjach: Gdańsk Brzeszcz, Gdańsk Oliwa, Sopot oraz przyjazd do stacji końcowej Gdynia Główna.
Okay, so that I don't think they're going to give it in any other languages. Yes, it's just in Polish, but it basically means my station coming up. I got to pack everything away, and the time it takes this computer to close down, it means I better stop right now.